You read what others had done, and you took the next step. You didn't earn the knowledge for yourselves, so you don't take any responsibility. You stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could, and before you even knew what you had, you patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now selling it. You sell it well.
I'm Pokemon Classics, and I invite you to join me for our monthly recap. Hey everybody, what's up from Pokemon Classics, reminding you that the classics never go out of style. Today we're breaking down the top 5 news stories in Pokemon, along with some of my own personal thoughts and commentary on each one. That is my goal on this channel, after all, is to keep you informed, whether it's the good, the bad, or the ugly. Also, as is tradition on this series, don't forget to stick around to the end of the video for my top 5 content recommendations. These are some of the best PokeTuber videos of the month, and I'd highly encourage you to check out each and every one of them. Anyway, let's dive into our first story. First up, we have some news coming out of Yokohama, Japan. As you may have heard, the Pokemon World Championship Series recently concluded on August 13th after an event-filled 3 days of all things Pokemon. This marked the first time the World Championship has ever been held in Japan, and for Pokemon fans and enthusiasts, it was a dream come true to travel to Japan and experience Pokemon in its country of origin. Now, this year's World Championship featured several new events, including a Pokemon-themed cruise, orchestra, live shows, and parades. However, one of the bigger news stories emerging from Japan was the unveiling of a newly designed set of trophy cards. Trophy cards are traditionally awarded to the top finishers in the TCG and VCG competitions, along with physical trophies. For the first time in 7 years, though, these trophy cards were updated with new textured artworks, receiving mixed reviews from collectors and community members. At least from what I've heard, many were hoping for something a bit more original. However, I've also been told that the textured design looks significantly better in person. Anyway, competition to buy these trophy cards from tournament place winners has been fierce, with many rumored offers of 5 and perhaps even 6 figures flying across social media. In some cases, prospective buyers have also been accused of aggressively pressuring winners to sell shortly after receiving their prizes, and in some cases contacting their friends and family members. Hopefully, this is the exception and not the norm. Personally, I understand the dynamics of collectors pursuing these once-in-a-lifetime collectibles, and I also understand the desire for some sellers to recoup costs and fund their competition expenses, but at the same time, there has to be a healthy and professional approach to making deals without being disrespectful or badgering hesitant sellers, but that's just my opinion. The other big reveal was the location of next year's World Championship, which will be returning to Hawaii in 2024. Since the Pokemon World Championship format was first introduced in 2004, Hawaii actually hosted the tournament on 3 different occasions, in 2007, 2010, and 2012. With the recent wildfires devastating Maui, it's perhaps unfortunate timing, but hopefully the significant amount of attention and traffic the World Championship brings will provide a nice economic boost for the local economy there. Anyway, I know a lot of players and collectors are really excited for a return to Hawaii, but you guys will have to let me know what you think about a tropical island getaway for Pokemon next year. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. For those of you who enjoy the Pokemon games, Pokemon has recently announced several big updates to their existing catalog. The first of these announcements is an update to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, featuring Mew and Mewtwo. For a limited time, Pokemon will be gifting trainers with a Mew via the code GetYourMew and encouraged to use it in a special Mewtwo Terra Raid event. This reminds me a lot of the original Mew distribution by Toys R Us back in 1999, so it's cool to see an updated version of this event. There's also some new downloadable content coming titled The Hidden Treasure of Area Zero, featuring new Paradox Pokemon. Basically, Paradox Pokemon are prehistoric and futuristic iterations of existing Pokemon, taking some creative and controversial liberties with the Pokemon design. For example, we previously were introduced to Walking Wake, a Velociraptor-like rendering of Suicune. However, that was nothing compared to the Paradox version of Raikou, just released in the newest update. Raging Bolt, a long-necked Brontosaurus-inspired design, was immediately mocked across the internet for its significant departure from Raikou's original design. Now, I'll be honest, even I find this design to be something of a monstrosity, but to be fair, I'm really not a fan of the Paradox Pokemon concept. It just feels a bit too gimmicky for my taste. I'd rather see Pokemon focus on the fundamentals like game mechanics, Pokemon design, card illustrations, that sort of stuff. I guess I can't fault Pokemon for trying to be innovative and doing something different though. But for me, I can't help but look at these paradox Pokemon and think of more of a parody Pokemon, because I really can't take them seriously. Anyway, in addition to the update to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Pokemon also announced some classic video game content to be released on the Nintendo Switch. Amongst these titles are the Pokemon Trading Card game, which originally debuted on the Game Boy, and Pokemon Stadium 2, a game developed for the Nintendo 64. Now, I was a huge fan of both of these games growing up, and although I still own both of these games on their original systems, I just might have to pick these up and relive the memories on the Switch. What I'd really like to see, though, is an updated version of the Pokemon Trading Card game with some of the later sets incorporated. The original game came out prior to the release of the Team Rocket expansion in 2001, so the only cards that are available for building decks and battling opponents are Base Set, Jungle Set, and Fossil Set, along with a few random promos. Anyway, for those of you who are purely collectors and never got to experience actually playing the TCG, this is a great entry point, and I highly recommend learning to play the game. Just trust me, it offers a whole new appreciation for the cards. This next one is really more of a 3-for-1 deal, but Pokemon is currently seeing a lot of exposure in public spaces. For example, this month, Pokemon is releasing a unique animation series on YouTube titled Path to the Peak. This show is unlike the traditional Pokemon anime in that it follows Ava and a group of Pokemon card enthusiasts who play together as part of a Pokemon club after school. I think this concept is really cool and a great way to showcase the TCG specifically and the sense of community that comes along with Pokemon League play. The animation style and story design is reminiscent of a Pixar movie, and as of the making of this video, the first 2 episodes are actually available on the official Pokemon YouTube channel for free. I'll go ahead and leave a link for it down in the description below. Pokemon is also set to once again enjoy some mainstream exposure from McDonald's, with Happy Meal promo cards coming to Germany, Austria, and the UK. Now, Pokemon has a history of partnering with McDonald's in a strategic cross-marketing campaign, and just as before, a promo pack of 4 cards will be included with each Happy Meal purchase. This promotional set is reported to consist of 15 cards, 14 of which are reprints from Scarlet and Violet, and the 15th, a Pikachu reprint from Paldea Evolved. As of now, Germany and Australia are in the midst of distribution, which started on July 27th, and the UK's release is scheduled for August 23rd. This promotion is also expected to come to the United States later this fall, but as of the making of this video, there's no official date that's been confirmed. Finally, Pokemon Leagues are getting an updated set of prize pack cards featuring the widely celebrated Cosmos holofoil pattern. Now, this release actually marks the 3rd round of prize pack cards and will be distributed as early as mid-August, corresponding with Worlds. Like before, prize packs consist of 7 cards, each with the Play Pokemon promo stamp. Interestingly, cards in this iteration will contain a mix of silver borders, yellow borders, and hollow borders, since the respective sets that these cards are drawn from include Brilliant Stars all the way through Scarlet and Violet, sets before and after the border redesign. Anyway, I love seeing the different ways Pokemon is appealing to the masses and hopefully staying relevant and accessible to these younger generations. Next up, we turn our attention to something a bit more unsettling, but recently Blake Martinez, an NFL linebacker turned professional Pokemon Whatnot streamer, was removed from the platform after allegations of scamming customers. Now, this all began a few weeks ago when Pokey Snee, an employee of Blake's Breaks, was caught swapping a pack during a live stream. This is actually a pretty complicated situation, which Rattle covered in a series of 14 videos, but I'll try my best to briefly summarize the controversy. Apparently, Blake's Breaks and many other live breakers on Whatnot rely on various bounty-based incentives when selling packs to prospective buyers. Basically, they charge higher prices for packs while giving customers added opportunities to win additional prizes through what I can only describe as a series of carnival games and alternative forms of gambling. In this particular case, buyers could win additional prize bounties if successfully guessing the correct energy cards before they're pulled from the pack. Now, basic math would suggest a 1 in 8 chance of correctly guessing an energy, but as Rattle demonstrates in his videos, the success rate on Blake's Breaks was proven to be substantially less, and in some cases astronomically low. He further proved that the energy cards are mappable in some boxes, including the Darkness Ablaze boxes at issue in Pokey Snee's stream. As viewers dove deeper, more and more potential examples of pack swapping and suspicious insider messages made this look pretty damning for Blake and his team. Again, this is way too much information for me to cover here. I'd suggest you go check out Rattle's videos for a comprehensive review. However, after a tearful semi-apology video from Blake and an initial stance of inaction from Whatnot, the streaming platform eventually reversed course, banning Blake and associates from Whatnot and offering reimbursement to any individuals affected by these scams. And as of this morning, I saw a post stating that Whatnot would be updating their policies to permanently ban all forms of bounties and carnival game gambling from their platform moving forward, which is a pretty massive and surprising change from the platform. Personally, I'm really not a fan of Whatnot or paying others to open packs for me in the first place. It's just really not my thing. However, I have to give Whatnot some credit here for at least acknowledging the situation and taking some action to clean up the platform and hopefully prevent users from being taken advantage of in the future. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on Whatnot? Have any of you used this platform before, and would you describe it as an overall positive experience or negative experience? Let me know down in the comments below. Finally, we'll wrap up this month's news with some high-end Pokemon history up for auction at Goldin's Summer Comics, TCG, and Non-Sports Elite auction. Now, this is one of the wildest auction blocks I've ever seen, featuring some incredibly high-end trophy cards, including a PSA 8, 1998 third place Pikachu trophy card, and a PSA 10 second place trophy card. Now, this number 2 trainer appears to be a recently graded copy and is actually just one of 4 in the entire PSA population all these years later, which in and of itself is pretty amazing. Perhaps even more amazing, though, is the fact that this copy earned a PSA 10, a feat thought to be impossible given the poor centering often found on these cards. While I'm not a collector of trophy cards myself, I do love the history of them and will be watching these auctions closely, particularly that number 2 trainer card. Let me know your guesses down in the comments below for how much you think these cards could potentially sell for. It's not just trophy cards either. This auction also features some historical oddities, including early test print base set holos featuring the disco holofoil pattern and a number of other unfinished design elements. Now, a close inspection of these cards reveals missing energy symbols and empty evolution boxes, among several other more subtle differences from their final iterations. Personally, I find items like this to be really cool. I love early Pokemon history, and getting this glimpse into the design process is almost like taking part in an archaeological excavation. However, I have to admit, I'm a little bit bothered and disappointed to learn that these cards were all manually cut from a single sheet for grading and for subsequent sale. Maybe it's just me, but I'm really more of a preservationist when it comes to these types of items, but I can also understand how a seller might be more comfortable optimizing their sales in this manner. A few other items that I think are worth highlighting in this video include some rare booster box cases, including a full case of first edition fossil boxes and German first edition base set boxes. There's also a complete first edition PSA 10 Neo Destiny Shining set. Now, I'm a little bit biased since I own a similar set in my personal collection, but Neo Destiny, by far my favorite set of all time. There's also a first edition CGC base set Charizard in CGC 10, and a complete PSA set of graded Legendary Collection cards in both regular and reverse holo format. Anyway, there's just way too much stuff to mention in this video here, but definitely some cool items. Anyway, guys, before I unveil my top 5 videos of the month, consider hitting the like button and subscribing to my channel. I put hours and hours into each and every one of these videos, and your support goes a long way in keeping me motivated and staying on the grind. But anyway, I truly appreciate you all for watching, so let's roll into the top 5. First on this week's top 5 list, I wanted to spotlight one of my favorite channels for Pokemon TCG history, and that's Ruby Retro. Ruby Retro has been doing a docu-series on different eras of the Pokemon trading card game, and recently dropped a highly anticipated video on the Neo era of Pokemon. Now, this was my personal favorite era of all of Pokemon, and Ruby Retro does an excellent job chronicling its initial release, its new game mechanics, the controversy over banned cards, and the competitive meta. It's a fascinating watch, and one that I would highly recommend. Next up is a video in which Danny Phantump surgically researches the production numbers of Pokemon throughout the Sword and Shield era in an attempt to project the total number of alternate art cards produced and distributed. Although he has to rely on some estimates and assumptions, Danny does an excellent job with his research here and makes some really compelling points about the relative rarity and scarcity of these modern chase cards, especially in comparison to those of the past. While videos like this are never fully accurate or fully provable, I certainly appreciate the effort of his research and the depth of his analysis here. If you're interested in modern or just in market dynamics, then this is a video for you. This next video comes from a more mainstream source, but Jason Paige, the singer of the original Pokemon theme song, recently released a music video commemorating the end of Ash Ketchum's journey in the anime. Now, this original song, titled Last Goodbye, is incredibly poignant for those of us who grew up watching the Pokemon TV series, and a fitting way to say goodbye to Ash and Pikachu. Although the video's been floating around now for a few months, I thought this would be the perfect time to highlight it with Ash's English finale just around the corner. Seriously, give this one a watch for some heartfelt nostalgia. Poke Knowledge Cards is one of my favorite interviewers, and last month he landed an interview with Nat Turner, the CEO of PSA Grading. For an hour, PK asked the tough questions covering topics such as pack grading, PSA set registry, grading inconsistencies, shipping and staffing concerns, and so much more. I also have to hand it to Nat. He seemed very approachable, transparent, and likable throughout the entirety of the interview. Anyway, this was a great peek behind the scenes of PSA Grading, and one of my favorite interviews on PK's channel to date. Excellent work, PK. Go check this one out. Finally, we'll wrap this one up with a video from the official Pokemon YouTube channel. In the month leading up to Worlds, Pokemon released a 4-part video series titled Road to Worlds, following various players from different countries and divisions in their quest to qualify for and compete in the 2022 World Championship. This was an interesting look into the various highs and lows of competitive TCG play and an incredibly well-produced docuseries. As someone who's primarily a collector myself, I found this alternate perspective to be fascinating, and I think many of you would as well. Well, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Breaking News, where we break down some of the most important Pokemon news stories each and every month. Let me know your thoughts on these stories down in the comments below, and if there are any major news stories that I missed, definitely send them my way. Anyway, guys, I'm Pokemon Classics, reminding you that the classics never go out of style. Thanks for spending the time with me today. We'll see y'all with the next video. Stay well, everybody.